So she brought me a cup of hot tea, and she goes, "Oh, don't worry about it."
So how did Stone Cold Steve Austin come about?
Tricky story. I was the ringmaster. I got the phone call. This is back when phones were still on the wall, and everybody uses cell phones these days. Had a long cord on that thing, so you walk around half a house with it.
That was the modern day cell phone. That was a cell phone.
Yes, I had that maroon phone, and that phone rang. I said, "Hello." I get this voice on the end of it. "Steve, Vince McMahon." Just started talking right away with the sales pitch. He goes, want to bring in, and I'd already met with Vince McMahon 3 times, and I could see that they didn't have any interest in me as like a superstar. They were bringing me in as what we call in the business a mechanic, a guy who is very proficient in the ring and can have good matches with anybody, and you need those guys on the crew, right? That's all they had for me. And anyway, they were going to bring me in as a ringmaster, the $1 Million champion. Ted DiBiase was going to be my manager because Vince hadn't seen me speak yet and thought I was a deaf mute. And so I was going to have a mouthpiece. And I didn't like that. But when you got a house payment and car to pay for, you need the money. So I said, okay, I'll sign up. I did that for 6 months. And I knew that there was no future in being the ringmaster. And so I was at the house in my log cabin, and I was having a couple. And I watched his show on HBO about that serial killer, Richard Kuklinski, who was a hitman over in Chicago, whatever. And I don't endorse nothing the guy did, but the guy was called Iceman because he was very cold-blooded. And but I was a heel in the business. I was a bad guy.
Okay.
So it's my job to be hated. So I took that idea and I called the office. I said, "Hey man, I got this idea. I want to be like a cold-blooded, remorseless, a heel." And I told them about the Iceman name. Well, there was a guy in Texas at World Class Championship Wrestling who had already been the Iceman King Parsons, because we don't want to do that. And so they sent me 3 pages of these horrible names: Fang McFrost, Otto Von Ruthless, and Ice Dagger. And I'm thinking, these guys are supposed to be creative geniuses, and this is the best they got. And I was like, I threw the pages up. I said, my wife at the time was from England, and they drink hot tea over there. So she brought me a cup of hot tea, and she goes, "Oh, don't worry about it. Just drink your tea before it gets stone cold." And she said, "That's your name, Stone Cold Steve Austin." So I called the office. I pitched it. I said, "Hey, man, I want to be Stone Cold Steve Austin, and I want to be from Victoria, Texas." And Jerry Briscoe says, "All right, I'll run it by Vince and see what he says." So unceremoniously, that's how we came up with Stone Cold.